Good morning, guys. Welcome to FYI.
Good morning.
For your information, I am Joretta Finance joining you this morning alongside Amanza Walton Desire. Guys, it is quite an interesting morning. Very, very, very tough times out there for some folks. We are joining you late this morning, coming to you very late. Because as you would have noticed on our page, we were live on the ground, getting in some work. Persons living in this country, poverty in this country is something that you have to go on the ground to actually understand the level at which people are suffering. Persons from every single ethnicity, and I always say it matters not. It matters not, folks. What's the color of your skin and the texture of your hair? Once you are in that lower class, once you're in that working class, you're all feeling the struggles alike. And if the entire country could see what is going on there at Peter's Hall, persons would understand what we speak about all the time. But guys, it is Thursday, right? Thursday, the 8th of September 2022. We're bringing you all the details as we can. We're going to be trying to pack the information into the morning program, so make sure that you share this stream very early. We are just in, guys, on the ground. Mr. Duncan, you don't want to see him right now. He is a mess, long boots, all dirty right up, everything, but you got to do what you got to do out there. You got to go out there and represent the people. So that takes first priority.
And bring valid and credible information to people. So hopefully in the program, we're going to have some of the footage that we took earlier this morning, so that you'll see exactly what is happening. As far as we were aware, Coca broke early this morning, and so residents found themselves under a foot or more of water based on what we would have seen. So, we're going to be bringing you some more of that. There's a lot happening.
One calamity to the next. I don't know how else to say it.
I don't know if it's the bird. I don't know if it's the PPP, but Guyana needs prayers, and we need to, something has to give, and it comes back to the point that we keep making very often. The cokers. This is not the first time. It's not the second time that a coker has broken away and would have caused the people to suffer in this.
But construction seems to be booming. According to the numbers, the construction sector is booming.
It's booming, but are we looking at our critical infrastructure?
Well, that's a different question. That's a different question, guys. Share the stream. You want to share this morning stream. I know that we're rushing to make sure that we get to you guys this morning with the programming. We're going to be bringing in footage as soon as we can of what is going on out there. Some additional footage that you didn't get a chance to see on the live because that was short. Has been quite a morning. We are on the go, making sure that we represent the people. I see Sean Carter there. I have to give you guys a shout out. Don't think I'm going to miss you guys this morning. This is a program that we always do this. I'm not going to change that today. I see Candy and Nalini in there. She's saying I reached early today. Yeah, Candy, you were early.
Suppose that Sharon is where I've been. Oh, we were on the ground. You'll see where we were. Later on in the program, we'll bring you some footage.
Oh, Warren said, good morning. I don't understand why all these calamities when we have a bishop as a public works minister.
Warren, it is not everyone that says Lord, Lord.
Oh,
good morning, Dave Durrell. Stacey and Stahl.
I see Elizabeth Howard also joining us
this
Elizabeth,
morning. How are you?
I love your chain, Amanza.
Oh, thank you much.
Yes. Good afternoon to you, Ayaba, joining us all the way out in the UK. There's Mimi Hendricks also there. Guys, what is going on at your end? Let me know. Is there anyone else experiencing tremendous difficulties like the folks there in Peter's Hall? Absolutely chaotic. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Ah, man.
At one point in time, Sherrod was out there doing the footage. At one point in time, those things it hit home.
Yeah.
The level of suffering that people are facing in a country that is reporting these phenomenal GDP growth. Right?
And this is the point that upsets me, because you look at Ashni press releases. You think that it is so bright and beautiful. But, all evidence to the contrary on the ground. Our hearts really go out to those people. Some of them have school-age children. And you have to imagine how traumatic it is. This is happening at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So people are sleeping and children are sleeping. And some of them, when you go into the houses, they're sleeping on the bare floor with a sponge thrown down. It's really, really.
It's lack of proper.
We'll bring you the picture.
You know,
guys,
it's crazy. The administration seems not to be aware of these things, so they go out there and they speak and they boast about these numbers. And so Peter's Hall is not some way behind God back. Peter's Hall is right there. It's right there. That craziness. Well, we're gonna get to that, guys. We're saying we're gonna be uploading some of the video footage to get you before the program is through this morning. So make sure you share the stream so other persons will benefit from the information. Share. You did good with the shares yesterday. Make sure that you do better today. We have to keep the shares up. We have to keep the information flowing. I cannot tell you, I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to share. Click that share button. So, but we have to get into the morning papers. The first thing, there are three particular things I want to mention in the morning paper. The third is going back to the chaos of the people that comes on the PP administration. But the first bit, very, very sad, coming out of Madia, the report coming out of Madia is very, very sad, of a little child, 4 years old, found dead in car. This is very crazy. It says police in Region 8 are investigating the death of a 4-year-old child who was discovered in a car at Madia on Tuesday morning. It said the dead child has been identified as Kimal Ramsamy. And it's also said that Starbuck Newsbridge, we're picking this out of, understand that the incident occurred sometime between 8:15 hours and 10 at 111 miles Madia. And based on other reports that I saw coming out yesterday about this particular matter, they said the child apparently went playing and locked the car and apparently could not got out. That is the way in which the information is coming out. So we have to be very careful. Suffocated. Yes, he suffocated. That is the initial report that I read in several media reports. So I want to say that we have to be very careful with our children altogether and their access. We got to be monitoring these children all the time. People, we understand the difficulties, you understand working parents and all of those things, but we need to make sure that at those very tender ages, they're inquisitive, they're very active, and all of those things, that we keep an eye on them. That's a very, very sad situation. I'm sure that the relatives of Kimal Ramsamy is going through a very, very tough time right now. So we extend our sincere condolences to the family, and this is something that
prayers are with them.
Thoughts and prayers with them.
4 years old.
Very, very sad. Little face, haven't even begin to live as yet. But as we continue to report on the morning papers, crime in Guyana is not going anywhere. Cousins beaten and robbed at charity. So don't think it's just one area in which these things happen. I just want to start off by saying that cousins beaten and robbed at charity is very, very crazy. But it's the two cousins who are robbed and assaulted by two men at a stall along the Charity Public Road on the Essequibo coast there. I keep saying that these small crime, I'm going to say it again this morning, this type of crime, what they refer to as petty crime. Petty crime. All right, that's not my word. This is I think the official word, the official label given to it, and the category assigned to when dealing with law enforcement. These crimes, the culprits are usually people that persons know. Oh, this one to snatch chain. Oh, this one to snatch phone. Oh, this one to sell. It's most ridiculous. I keep saying that as a society, it's our responsibility to make sure that these persons are held accountable and not shelter them. Family members and friends of these individuals need to stop sheltering them because you're signing their death warrants.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. You're correct. I mean, but Jordan, as crime and the upsurge in crime is directly tied to social factors and a number of issues. I can't help but think every time we open the papers that we have so much work to do. So much work to do as a nation. I pray to God that we really get past the pettiness to be able to begin to focus on what are the important nation building things that we have to get to. And every time you open the papers, it's one drama after the other. The bright spark for me this month has been reading about those children who did well at CSEC and some of them and the obstacles that they've had to overcome. But that appears to have been the one bright spark when you open the papers.
It's absolutely crazy, and like I've been saying all the time, we regret that we have to bring all of these things. I know yesterday also there were several reports of accidents. Again, I saw one person saying that somewhere around in the vicinity of the Denver Harbor Bridge, again there was an accident, if not on the bridge itself. I'm to confirm those reports. But guys, let us be careful out there. Let us make sure that we do our part. But in everything that is going on, the morning papers, we still have to speak about the chaos. You remember we were at pains in talking about what happened there in Berbice when it comes to the traffic on the roadways. And we would think that after that episode, that the administration and the relevant authorities would have an understanding of the gravity when it comes to the traffic hazard on the road and the congestion and making sure that there is free movement. But lo and behold, yesterday, guys, believe it or not, at the 9th hour, a notice went out stating that persons that were living. Let me just get that directly. Persons that were living beyond the Grove Diamond area, those persons were asked to travel home earlier and so forth before 9 o'clock. So persons going to the airport should go before 9 because they will be paving. Who does that? Who does that?
The PPP administration.
How do you, as an administration, after seeing the chaos without road works being done, you're seeing the chaos on the roadway every single day without road works being done, but you're going to decide that early in the night you're going to start doing road work? And what happened there, guys? I don't know if you've been following on social media. I'm going to allow Amanda to just rail into this.
Which one?
But this is just crazy. If you've been following on social media, persons were reporting that they took, I think it was Big Uncle Moses, but I'm not sure. Let me not call Mosley was actually saying that he left Cemetery Road. He took 90 minutes from Cemetery Road to the Arch.
To the Agricola Arch.
To the Agricola Arch. The administration made a decision for that to be done.
It goes back to what we were talking about on Tuesday. It goes back to what we were talking about on Tuesday. Lack of planning, lack of ability to forecast. You put out a notice with such a short time frame to tell people to get home. People have jobs. They report to employers. Those people have to factor in, okay, well, I will know that I have to, my staff has to go home early because there's a scheduled road closure. So they're able to plan that out. But when you give the day before or mere hours before notice, it is inconceivable to me. This is something that has to be scheduled. It should have been broadcast since last week and every day so that people understand that this is going to happen. Do what you have to do and fashion your life around it. But it was crazy last night. 2 hours. A lady that I know left work at 5 o'clock and at 8:30 she was now getting to cross the bridge to go home to Parfait Harmony. But you know, they don't care.
You could have walked home in that time.
You could have walked home. Honestly, you could have packed your car and walked home. They don't care because they feel that Guyanese will forget by tomorrow.
I think
and that we got short memories.
And I know that some people are going to come on and say, oh, it's development.
Yes, it's the inconvenience of development. But other countries do developmental work.
Other persons don't have what we have. That's the problem.
I can't say nothing. You know, that is the overriding factor. They do not have this administration to contend with. It sometimes is it's ridiculous that you have to get up on here early in the morning. And there's, like we were saying, there's nothing positive to bring. You are in traffic, and then now children. School children would have been in the traffic with their parents in minibuses. Some of them traveling home alone by themselves for all of that time. Didn't get to do homework. This government
washrooms, my goodness, what happened there?
How do you? I mean, people miss their flights.
Lots of people miss their flights. Miss their flights.
What was the breadth and depth of the notice given? How, to people to make these arrangements? This only happens in Guyana because very often we fail to hold this government accountable for their foolishness.
Wow. It's crazy, but that's what went on there. And like I said, this was this was, if I can put it over this way, this was a scheduled inconvenience to the public, scheduled madness, scheduled mayhem. Who schedules mayhem?
Well, you see, this is the problem. This is the problem. You know, give proper notice, man, so that people know shop got to shut at 3, everybody got to go to the town, so that we.
But what happened? What happened? I believe is like when the notice went out. You know, those persons who actually got wind of the notice, even if they were planning to head in a little later, everybody decided that they're gonna rush to catch it a little early, so everybody ended up right there. From that time until whenever, you know, one vehicle at a time. You could walk past, you know, you could push.
Come on, in there, Jill, y'all do better. This is nonsense.
This is absolute chaos.
Just do better.
Imagine persons coming through there with an emergency. Imagine an emergency. Imagine if there was an ambulance, a fire truck. What was happening there?
But Jaretta, it also points to the fact that we're talking about proper contingency planning for emergencies and for mandatory evacuations. Come on, y'all do better. Hold people accountable for the foolishness that happened yesterday. We cannot keep accepting suboptimal and mediocrity and feel that, you know, Guyana is going to get where she has to go. It can't be.
Yeah, it's crazy, guys. I don't know how else to put it over to you. It is what it is. But let's move forward. As we move forward, guys, we're gonna look at what is going on with the morning brew. You know how we start at the international level. At the international level, you know, we've seen several reports on every single international news site that is reporting about Queen Elizabeth and her health issues, as it is right about now. It says the Queen under medical supervision at Balmoral. And what is going on there, guys, that you would know that I think it was the first time ever that the Prime Minister had to go there to be sworn in, and this is because the Queen is ill. And as it is right about now, there's several reports that her close family members and so are beginning to surround her at her bedside because the doctors are very, very concerned about her health right now. But you would know that, and I was just saying to Mans before we came on here, you know, that with two things are certain in life, it's on debt and on debt and taxes. So the Queen has lived a very full life, you know, very, very full life. I think she's 94 years old right now, and we have to say that it would be quite an interesting steps we've seen being taken, and it would certainly be something for us to be talking about as we move forward with what is going on.
There's a lot happening in the UK.
There she is.
A lot happening in the UK. You know, Liz Truss was just sworn in as the new Prime Minister with a lot to deliver, given what is happening in the UK with you know, their energy crisis and their issues with immigrants, with people seeking asylum and all of these things. So she has quite a packed agenda as PM moving forward. But, you know, we wish the Queen all the best. And we send our thoughts and prayers.
Wish her peace, you know. I wish her peace.
Yeah.
Wish her peace. I have to say, when it comes to
94 is a good time. Yeah. And I think her husband would have predeceased her some years. Was it last year or the year before? I cannot recall.
Yeah, it goes by so quickly.
Yes, the Duke predeceased her. And so, you know, we'll keep monitoring the situation.
96.
She's 96.
I think that's what's being reported here. You see, a lot of years on her there, but we did note, and I want to just say, Amanda's commenting on Liz, and I have to mention, I see Liz hit the ground running, and she had no choice, and the opposition did not give her a chance to settle in. They are on it. They're saying, you know, it's just a new face, same policies. So Liz have a lot of representation to give, you know, and I think she's the third female Prime Minister there in the UK. It's a lot bearing on her.
Margaret Thatcher. Then there was Theresa May. And now Liz Truss. It's really good to see women, you know.
Yeah, that's a plus of it.
Coming to the fore and coming of age in terms of leadership. I know that she had said that she would announce an energy plan within the first week. Yeah. And we're reading reports that she has frozen energy bills.
Yeah, when you're looking at this from the outside, a different way in the city, you know.
So she's put a cap on energy bills already,
yes.
and we'll see how that goes.
Correct. Yep. And as we move forward, guys, in the region, what is going on in the region? It says here that the outgoing Lisa Hanna is the opposition's best performer, and Bunton is the worst, according to the polls there that is being taken there out in Jamaica. And we guys, you know, Lisa Hanna, we spoke about this some bit when we said, you know, that when you have an entry strategy into politics, you also have to have an exit strategy. And Lisa Hanna has announced that she's going to be exiting. You know, this is her last stint, and she's going to be serving out this term, and then she's going to be on her way to do different things. Absolutely. And I admire that tremendously. She has been out there on the ground working, and people seem to appreciate her a whole lot.
Absolutely. You know, she's somebody that I really like. She's always managed to be very calm and composed in the face of you know, a lot. Yeah. As a woman in politics, I could tell you come up against a whole lot, and so she's managed to deal with it with a lot of grace and dignity and style, if I might say.
Right.
And so it's really, really important that, as you said, Joretta, you have an exit strategy. You know, this thing called politics. You have to determine that you will give it some time, you will serve your country, and then you'll move on when you believe that you have made your contribution. Mm-hmm. And so kudos to her. And the polls have said it. The polls have said what they said. Yeah. And kudos to Lisa Hanna, and we wish her all the best in our future and in her future endeavors. Yeah. Reminds me when we were talking about the Queen, Joretta, that we laid to rest Ambassador Ashley Jackson yesterday. And, you know, it occurred to me that these men were such giants in the international relations field. We must stop and pay tribute to that. He was one of the people that was on the forefront of the fight to maintain Guyana's territorial integrity and our sovereignty in the context of the Venezuela border dispute. Up to the weeks before he died, he actually sat with us on the bipartisan committee on the Venezuela controversy. Wow. And he was in his 90s. His mind was as sharp as a tack. And, you know, it's amazing. This is Amerindian Heritage Month. Carl Greenwich yesterday had to remind, and this is where you see, I have a difficulty with the way we teach history in Guyana. A lot of people don't know that Humaniana was Ashley Jackson's brainchild. And he conceived it and it was used as the lounge for the foreign ministers meeting of the non-aligned movement. So Guyana was big on the front of international relations, and certainly Ashley Jackson was a giant. You had African nations sending tribute. You had European leaders sending tribute because of the breadth and depth of work that he did. And so it was good to see his life celebrated yesterday. It was a simple, elegant ceremony. His son reminded us that all of the music that we were hearing, he sat and he chose his music. Wow. That he wanted played at his memorial. I have to ask you, Todd, why he wasn't there, because I thought that as Foreign Affairs Minister he ought to have been. I don't know why he wasn't there, but I'll be asking him. You know, you had former Minister Clement Rowe, he was there. You had Anil Nandlal there, and I thought it was very decent of them to come to pay respects to such a giant of a statesman. And so we remember his contributions, and he has left a mark that will not be erased. He has left a mark that will not be erased. So but we definitely need to move. We need to get into a direction, because there are others like Ashley Jackson, that persons that have the depth of knowledge, you know, and we have to have a system in which
the knowledge is transferred. Because I know he played an active role of making sure that he was there, playing his role to educate and edify younger people.
Absolutely.
Like yourself.
So he and I had this standing date that we kept, where you would go and you would sit down and you would listen. I hear somebody saying that the background music is a little loud. But we'll ask the technical guys to look at that. But the point that I'm making is that we have a lot of people who are still alive that we need to capture the history from. I saw Kit Nascimento bared his soul the other night on Freddie Kissoon's show when he said he would put his head on a block that Forbes Burnham was not a racist.
Yeah.
Now, one of Forbes Burnham's most popular books is A Destiny to Mold. And that book was compiled. It was a compendium of Burnham's speeches. And that book was actually compiled by Kit Nascimento. And I think Mr. Burroughs was the other person. And so when you talk about somebody that knew the man, Kit Nascimento did. And when I heard Kit speak, it occurred to me that, Joretta, this is why our country is in the state that it is in. Because we've had men twist history to support their own agenda. The PPP has proceeded on an agenda that made Forbes Burnham out to be the most racist person and the most anti-Indian person to have ever existed. And here you have a man who, I don't know if it's his conscience, if it's his old age, he needs to get it off of his chest. But he was quite forthright.
90 years old.
Right? Kit is 90?
90.
Wow.
Yeah. Kid looking good for 90.
Kid looks decent for 90. He got it off his chest. And so people came to say, oh, Burnham banned flower and so on and so forth. But Freddie was like, no. I was with him in India when he saw that they were using rice to make roti.
To make flour, the rice
flour. To make flour. And all of their roti and all of their products are made with rice flour. So he got that idea from his trip to India. But the wickedness of people twisted it as though he came back with an anti-Indian agenda. A lot of people don't know that he and Indira Gandhi were very, very close friends. I'm going to wrap up by saying, because we do not tell our history often enough, opportunists, men who would continue to want to see this nation divided, will rewrite history in their own way. So I want to say to Kit, thank you for saying that. And thank you for setting the record straight, because the PPP has run with that propaganda. It is the propaganda that they have used for generations to keep Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese divided. And here you have a man belonging to neither race saying, no. He had his flaws. In the end, he did some things that I would not agree with, but I could put my neck on a block. He was not racist and he was not anti-Indian. And I think that is a powerful thing. And I'm hoping that the people in the PPP who are right thinking and who have the interest of this country at heart will make attempts to start healing this nation, and moving us forward. Sorry, I had to go off on a tangent there, because not tangential, but to see that Guyana is being done such a disservice and we're setting one race against the other. It's really, really sad. And so we have a duty to write history. But what's going on the other fronts, Joretta?
I'm glad that Amanda spoke about what she just spoke about, a very, very important aspects. But I just have to say one thing about that before we move forward, and is that all of what has been said, the blatant lies that is told about with regards to our history, where we came from, what was done and why it was done, the lies are told because people see it as aiding to divide a country, that they benefit from the divide. And that we have to move forward. We have to move. That's why we always keep saying we have to move to a policy level, that persons vote based on policies and not by how someone looks and not who they perceive to be on their side just because of ethnicity. It's as blatant as that. We have to get to a point that we recognize persons of intellect and move in a direction that we are going to support people that have the capacity, the ability, and the will to go forward and set policies that is going to be beneficial to all Guyanese. Now, as we move forward, at the local front, one of the first things we want to talk about, and the man's again, this is right up your alley. It says Guyana and Suriname ministers to resolve fishing a license impasse. This is coming from Air Finale, none other than Air Finale. I want to read directly from the report, guys. It says, with President Air Finale already expressing his disappointment to the Suriname President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi over the reneging on the promised 150 fishing license to Guyanese. He yesterday said that representatives from the two countries will soon meet to discuss the issue. Amanda, I know that you were one of the persons that was speaking extensively when you said he is being advised that this is not going to go through, right? I think it was none other than David Ottergranger that says the history would say that you cannot rely on this commitment. And not those words, I'm using those words, but that is the position that was put out there to him. He went out there, the headlines were nice, and here we are, the reneging of the 150 promised fishing license to Guyanese. What's going on there? How do you see this particular matter playing out?
Look, we warned from the inception that this was a bad idea. The mere act of me having to apply to another state for a license to fish is an implied acknowledgement of sovereignty.
Yes.
We warned them. We warned them, but they do not listen. And this is why we keep saying that the PPP is very transactional in its foreign affairs and foreign relations operations. And you have to be concerned because it looks like people that would gamble away our territorial integrity. What we have to do is, based on international law, find a way to have our rights supported and enforced. We cannot continue down the path of allowing ourselves to be taken for granted. What am I saying? I am saying that we have to depend on what we've always depended on. Astute diplomats that can negotiate, that can build consensus, and that can come away with a win-win situation. Suriname is our neighbor. They're not going anyplace. But you cannot ignore the fact that there has been from time to time claims made on Guyana's territory. So it is a dance that you have to understand and that you have to have the ability to walk. Todd et al. Don't have it. Right? And it is my view that even though you have people like Carl Greenidge who are still there and advising, that their role is to advise. They can't compel them to do the right thing. And so this is going to be a problem because every day a fisherman applies, it is a concession that you are the power.
You're the power that be.
You are the power that be, so I have to come to you. So it is a complicated issue that cannot be dealt with by photo ops and smiling. And I think this is what Irfan Ali is learning the hard way.
It's
and the people learning it even harder because the fisher folk family suffering. They can't fish. There is no income. In many cases, these men that work on the sea are the sole breadwinners. So you have the economic fallout from that. So, we'll continue to monitor it.
And these things, and sometimes I'm reminded that I should go back and remind persons of how this is affecting everyone, because we're speaking about this here, And you want to know how does it translate to the ordinary Guyanese family? You would go also to the mid-year reports and you will see that fishing, that sector altogether, the industry, it has contracted. And this is why all of these things compiled add up, and that's what's coming out in the report. That's what the numbers are. And it's simply saying that persons, every family, if you have relatives, if you are watching from an area and your relatives, or you are from a family that is dependent on the industry, simply saying that you do not have the income now to sustain your family because the industry is suffering. And these are major sectors within our country. So we can't just push it aside because it's just as though it's just numbers, it's dating, you don't know what to do with it. These are very significant information when it comes to the way in which the economy is moving, the non-oil economy, particularly persons the household that depend directly on these specific sectors, in this case, fishing,
Absolutely. And so you're right. It doesn't happen in abstract. It has spin-off effects, and it's a domino effect. So if this collapses, this spin-off and the domino effect on households, on children going to school is clear and present. But again, Joretta, what you have is a government in the PPP who they understand something. They thrive on the fact that sometimes we have short memories, and they thrive on the fact that there is a kind of blind support that they enjoy, that even if they come and lie to you and say, this phone is red, even though it's a black phone, that you will ignore every bit of sense that you have that says, but there's a black phone, buddy. A man says, this phone, black, it in red. And you override that and you say that, oh yeah, the phone red. And that is what they thrive on. And this is why valid and credible information like what we bring to you is important. And even after that, you will see some of them engage. They say, oh, they're the best. They're the best thing for Guyana, because that is their fallback position. It's really very sad. Really very sad.
Yeah. And as the information, as the corrupt information continues to move forward, you will learn in communication studies that at the end of it turns to something completely different. Guys, as we move forward, one of the things that we're looking at locally right now, and we've been speaking about it, the RSS, guys, the regional security system. It says here that the police will be asked to share the RSS findings with the public when completed. And this is coming again from Air Finale. It says President Air Finale stated yesterday that once the regional security systems review of allegations made by police detective Dion Bascom has been completed and tabled, he will ask the police to share the findings. Mind you, and it's interesting to me that he's making these particular comments, but when we have been speaking about the fact that the lawyer of Dion Bascom, I don't think he is yet in receipt of any response when it comes to providing witness protection for Dion Bascom. But I see here comments now being made about the RSS report and the fact that it will be made public according to what Air Finale is saying here. So this is quite a sensitive investigation altogether. The depth and the magnitude of the allegations made by Dion Bascom. We have gone through it in depth, and I have to say that there's absolutely no confidence that has been placed in the eyes of Guyanese. Guyanese don't have the confidence in the force and the way in which the investigation is being done because of all these gray areas. I
don't have confidence in the president.
But he's different. I'm talking about the force.
Yeah, I lack confidence in the president.
Zero confidence.
Irfan, and this is what we talk about. He keeps missing opportunities.
Miss a mark.
To demonstrate that he is serious about moving Guyana forward on a sound developmental path. And we seem to think it comes with exposure as well. If you follow the criminal justice system in, for example, the US, you would see, Joretta, that whistleblowers are not angels generally. You understand? People who sometimes go into witness protection have checkered histories and a level of involvement in some things. But the issue is what they know and what they're trying to stop outweighs whatever level of involvement they may have. It's not that they're not going to be held accountable, but there is a greater good aspect to the concept of protecting whistleblowers. Not that they're saints, but there's a greater evil that we are able to combat if we are able to get evidence from this particular person. So with that context in mind, I think the first thing Irfan ought to have done was, as the president of Guyana, demonstrate a commitment to law and order and to the rules of the legal system, and grant some kind of protection to the man. It doesn't have to be protection in perpetuity.
But it sends a message. It sends a very strong message.
He sends a message to the people of Guyana that I will not protect you.
So when you see wrong, shut your mouth. That's the message that is being sent. That's the message that is being sent. That's where I have an issue.
He could strip all the fancy talk away. He has set the Guyanese that if you come to me for protection, I'm not going to protect you. I'm not even going to protect you whilst I sort out the facts of the case and ascertain your role. And you know, if you're wrong, you're going to be held accountable.
Correct.
But in the meantime, you go into witness protection. Let us sort this out at a bare minimum.
Correct.
That is what a president who believes in law and order should do. But Irfan is not even had the decency to respond to the request. Instead, the man has gone back into active duty. And if something happens to him, we can hear about no stones unturned and whatever. It's a big joke. Irfan cannot tell nobody nothing about law and order.
He can't encourage persons to speak out.
You can't encourage people to speak out with that attitude. Please.
And this is where, you know, there are some intangibles, and I have to add this in at this point in time. There were some intangibles that persons got during the 5 years of the APNU AFC administration. There are there are the tangible benefits, but there are some intangibles, and this is one of the areas in which we can say that there was an intangible benefit. Persons were not afraid to speak out. This is something Guyanese found a voice that they had lost completely from 2015, and they exercised and used our voice from 2015 through to 2020. We see now every effort being made by the administration and the arms of the administration to say to people that you don't have that right anymore, and you should not be exercising that right and that freedom to speak out against injustices altogether and throughout the length and breadth of this country. This is something that it is a grave issue that we need to deal with.
It is serious. And, you know, Joretta, I do not know what it will take for us to, well, I know what it will take for us, but we will have to dig down and find the courage within ourselves to do this, or else we will be bequeathing to our children a Guyana that I tell you, it will make men like Bornum and Chedi cry. Because you see, when they were struggling for independence, they were struggling for an ideal that we came here under different circumstances, but we are going to make a Guyana out of it. And we have failed to make a Guyana out of it. Every day, it's some kind of separation, some kind of discrimination. And we, the people, are failing to put a stop to it. We are failing, and maybe in some regards, we as political leaders have to take some of the blame for that, in terms of maybe not doing enough to hold this government accountable.
We have to make different decisions.
But exactly. And having said that as well, it's a symbiotic relationship, because 31 MPs alone will not be able to do it. The people as well have to play an important role. I was looking at it in the ring last night, and Sherrod was making the point that in Indonesia, the price raised for gas. And the people are in the streets by the hundreds of thousands. That is citizen power. That is people power. And that is the power that we as citizens have. And we have to begin to hold this government accountable, and we have to begin to look at all the various ways to do that.
Yeah.
And one important way, I remember somebody, I don't know the person, I don't know how they got my phone number, but they called me. And they had concerns about the oil and gas sector and where it was heading and what is the opposition doing and so on. I said, well, look, our positions on it are out in the media, but I do not want you to discount the importance of a voice like yours in the struggle. Do you see my point? And how do you, as a citizen who is not politically affiliated, get other citizens on board with you to advocate for what you believe is better for Guyana?
Well, we can have these conversations. We need to have these. I think we have to have a lot of roundtable discussions, a lot of focus groups on these matters, because we need to have the conversation from all sides, if I can say it like that, because we're not going to move forward if we continue to do, according to Sher, love to say we keep doing the same thing over and over, and expecting a different results. That's madness. And that's what it is.
The definition of insanity.
Correct. And guys, as we move forward, one of the things that I want to mention this morning is the fact that let us talk about the 2022 census. Let us talk a bit about that. There was a lot of out there when it comes to get counted. We counting we. I think that is the slogan. We counting we. I think that's the slogan which is coming on this year. But it was interesting for me when it comes to the notation being put forward there. It says here that get counted. It said president says data crucial to policy on migration and labor. The president is saying that the census data is crucial to migration and labor. I know I thought for a while that probably there's something, I don't know, there's something wrong with me or something, but last I checked, the Bureau Statistic does a labor force survey that comes out quarterly when it comes to how we should be dealing, because labor is not something that you wait every 10 years to address. Labor is something that we have to address immediately as the time goes on. Every single year, you have to be tweeting and restructuring and refocusing. So I found it interesting. I don't know what aspect of labor he's looking at, probably a different aspect and all of that. But I do see that probably that's why, the labor force, when it comes to the wages and salaries and all of those things, it's not going in anywhere. They're probably waiting on this census. Probably every 10 years you can get a review or something like that.
I don't know. But the poor chap probably doesn't even know. It really is crucial to more things than what he
I know what the PVB uses the census to do, the administration by itself, because it is crucial to them, because they want to see the demographics and the shifting demographics of this country, the way in which population or internal migration and all of those things. That's probably what he's talking about, who is shifting where from which region to which area. Those marginal wins that the PVB had in some areas, if it's been threatened now, whether or not they should revamp the divisive policies in some area, because different ethnicities are moving into those areas. That is what it's going to be telling a lot about.
The last census was since
2012. Mm-hmm.
So
that's the last bit of data that we have.
Yeah, the official data that we have. So it'll be very interesting to see. And we want to encourage you to go out and get counted.
Yeah, well, the persons for the census, they're going to be coming to you and all of that. So we must
look for
counted.
the schedule, see when they're in your area, and make sure that you are counted. We're going to see some incredible information.
I am so excited.
You're going to see some populations dwindling. You're going to see some populations growing. I believe you're going to see the mixed demography, the mixed demographics. Exploding.
The last census, that's the direction it showed that we were moving in when it comes to our ethnic balance and all of those things.
The growing population was the mixed race. And maybe that's a good thing, because it's showing that the younger people are desperately wanting to move away from all of these racial constructs. Marry who you want to marry, love who you love, and have children and so that
I'm interested when it comes to immigrants.
Yeah.
I'm particularly interested when it comes to immigrants and all of those things.
And to see the migration rates.
Yep.
So it'll be very, very important. And it'll be very important for decision making.
Wouldn't it be interesting to see how many Guyanese are leaving as opposed to how many Venezuelans are coming? Anyway, we're going to continue.
We are going to be monitoring. You know, numbers is Joretta's thing, so she's salivating over here.
Yeah, I am, because it's going to be major. It's going to be major information that is coming out of the census. So this is something that these are very, very important information, bits and pieces. The data that comes out from a census, it's invaluable. I don't know how else to put it over. And so we're going to be holding on to that, because that's every 10 years. So whatever the data is that is gathered now, that's the data that we'll have to move forward with for the next 10 years. As we move forward, guys, we're coming down to wrap up time. As we move forward, what we have to talk about is the fact that we're seeing now that the windstorm victim says assistance was promised by the CDC. The windstorm victim says that the CDC has promised assistance, and this is something that we spoke about yesterday. Yeah. I say that this is, let me just put it over, this is unacceptable. I don't know how else I can put it over. It's unacceptable for that magnitude of natural disaster to hit persons in their homes, and for immediate aid not to be meted out to those persons that we see in other areas. You have to prove it. You have to go out there and show that you are not willfully being divisive in your approaches. You have to go out there and show that you are not discriminatory, and by not doing that, you are confirming that you are discriminatory in your approach. You are divisive in the way in which you are actually doing things. So this is unacceptable. Let me just put it out like that.
They don't care.
Yes,
we hope that that they've assessed the situation. We hope that they have, and that they will offer timely relief.
Yeah. Well, the time has already passed.
So I'm saying, where have the people slept? Was alternative accommodation given? And we'll be monitoring it very closely, because we have seen that this government responds when they want to respond.
We see that they have the ability to pull money and push it in an envelope from out of the thin air.
Yes. So do better by these people, because we'll be monitoring. And we'll be holding you accountable to doing it. Remember, guys, to share the live stream.
Yeah. Remember to share what's going on. I think that we may be having some footage coming in from this morning, guys, and it's very important. You know that we came all late this morning because we were on the ground. Persons on the ground. Mr. Duncan in his long boots. These are the things that people don't see at the back end. From the back end, you don't see what is going on. Muddied up, wet from head to toe. And that's the way in which it has to be done, because we need to go out there and be with the people. So guys, they're in Peters Hall, very, very devastating to what is going on there. We have to bring you this bit of information. So as we bring it to you, we're going to come back with some bit of commenting on what is going on there. So just give us a moment as we pull that up. Share the stream whilst this information is being pulled up.
Wow. Morning. Folks, look water here. Right through his water. Oh shit. Sorry for the experience. I can step inside there?
Yeah, no problem.
Oh boy. It's water, folks. And this is high. He's up high here.
Yeah.
And he's underwater here. Oh boy. Oh boy. He's underwater here.
This is damage. This is making good now.
Yeah.
So you walk in thing?
Yeah. This is stove, folks.
Yeah.
Who your family there? Yeah, because I noticed here. I don't know how you can manage here. That's the best down here. Yeah.
And when the bat comes, it's a mud.
Yeah.
That's what you see.
Oh my God! Look at my sister here. Don't stop, my sister. Let us see how you bail. How you got it bailing your water from your place here. Just bailing water. Father. Look down this passageway.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow, it's just water out here. And that's what this young lady is bailing out of the apartment.
Yeah.
We just showed you here. Just water. Wow. Wow. Just bailing water. That's gonna hurt her back so much when she's done.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us in, my brother.
And the first thing I have to say is that with that video, put it in your mind and you put that alongside the big headline of the economic growth of this country. That is the way in which Guyanese are living right now.
And you know what's important to know? That in that footage, what was captured there are two separate apartments, you know. Those are two separate apartments. The first one, it's a single room with 2 beds, a kitchen corner.
There's a stove. I don't think there's a kitchen corner. Like there's a stove, 2 bed.
And that is what people
booming economic growth
are living
booming economy
in a country of a few 100,000 people with all of this money from oil. This is where
wealthiest GDP per capita.
And we have to begin to demand better from the people, for the people. If you look on the wall, you'll see the height the water was at, because what the people are saying is that it was higher than that. It managed to go over some of the barriers they would have built around their door.
Well, that's what I want persons to understand. If you saw, and we're going to pull it back at another video just now, probably pull back the first video also, because what you would notice is the doorway have a little wall there that's at the doorway, because the water keeps coming in. But what is happening there now is that the water came in at such a high level that it went over that kind of security that persons put in there to stop it from going in. Right. It went over. Right. So when it went out, the person's house now was left completely flooded.
So inside. The yard is dried, but because they had to the barricades to secure themselves have now become, and it says to us that we have to pay attention to the fact that we are below sea level. The cokers and all of these things that keep us out, that keep the seas out, have to be regularly maintained.
Yeah.
They are critical. They are a critical part of our defense infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have been doing this for the last 50 years, and it does not seem that we can get it right. We have to begin to start looking to things like moving the city to higher ground. How do we put building codes in place so that, okay, you know, the water will come in? What do our building codes say?
The water should be coming in.
Are there inspections? We have so much work to do to build a society. Societies and civilizations don't just appear.
You're talking about planning, Amanda. You're talking about
planning. It is about planning. It is about forecasting. It is serious work. And so Irfan has to stop running around, dancing out the time, and I'll start the story on the stage and whatever, and all of this mama guying, and get down to serious work. You are building a nation, this photo up, and this, it is so shallow.
Wasn't it Irfan that went out in the dead of night to check on the pump attendants that said that he's going to be dealing with these things directly? Now, what is happening in Peter's
And let me say this, and people are not going to agree with me on it. People may not. But this thing that we have of having to see the president going to inspect this and to inspect
absolute nonsense.
It is foolishness. It means that the systems and the institutions are not working.
Yep.
And this is the cult of personality type leadership that we are promoting. All of the gimmicks. You know, there's a time and a place for that. For the dancing and all of that, there's a time and place for that. But there's a time and a place for serious leadership. And what we need now is serious leadership. And the PPP is demonstrating every day that they are unable to give us that. We got to build institutions. We have to build systems. When was the last time our building code was revised? Do we have a building code? What does our zoning requirements, what do our zoning requirements look like? What do they look like? the ordinary Guyanese continue to suffer. They continue to suffer. And we have to be able to, as a nation, get to the table together and decide how we're going to craft this nation's future forward. Look at that. Absolutely abysmal. You can imagine the health concerns. You can imagine things like leptospirosis. You can imagine just the absolute devastation. Mm-hmm. You can't enjoy. Listen, one time, many years ago in the 2005 flood, the lower flat of the home where I lived was flooded. And I never felt so, I felt violated. I felt helpless. It's like you can't do anything. Now imagine this is their reality. Anytime the Coca floods.
You know, PPP administration have a history of doing things crazy. Let me tell you something. There is a specific area, and I will speak about this now, so you can bear with me. I think it's referred to as a young professional housing scheme in Eccles area, in which the houses were built flat on the ground, lower than the road. So there's one particular instance that I saw for myself, persons having to take their children out in the dead of night because the rain fell, the drains were clogged up, and water just gushed through the entire house of the young professional housing scheme.
And look at
gushed through the homes there.
Look at the other instance of South Rumvelt, North.
That's their level of planning, Amanda.
Irfan Ali went and he made one big fuss about walking through Festival City and South Rumvelt from the time I was a little girl. No, I can't say from the time I was a little girl. From the time I was at university. High school, university. This is a couple decades ago. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not let it face food.
Guys, we have another piece of footage.
But hold on. South Rumvelt is always on the water.
Yes.
As soon as the rain smiles, and we can't fix it.
We got to do better.
We cannot fix it. I mean,
I'll come back to the GDP just now. But guys, we have another piece of footage we want to bring to you before we bring back the discussion, the conversation. Share this stream. This is important for us. Share, share, share.
Wow. Start back this way. Drift mud, he said. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Yes. There's a pump.
About 2 months for this thing, you know. It's about 2 months for this thing, you know. Just around for me. This cost me about $50,000. I want to give a grant is 25 I'm going to give. That's funny, but see.
Jesus, my brother, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we just sleep down, so we have to get everything upstairs.
Jesus.
That's another thermal pump of water. This is another thermal pump of water. It's also happened. This takes this. The stove, the fridge, all gone upstairs.
There's a pump there. He's trying to get out some of the water from this side. Yeah. And we saw a lot of little one in front here. Wow, my brother, everything here is underwater?
You see, the building from the door, because of the flood. So when the water coming in, it gets trapped. I built it in front of the door for when the water is going, but when the water going to get trapped.
Yeah.
They run over.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
When you're looking at that video there, I want you to understand. The first thing we want you to do is share. Make sure that you share the stream. This is very important for us. This is what's happening today. These photos were taken this morning before we came onto the program. When you're looking at that video, I want you to understand and conceptualize, put it in your mind that the reports that you are seeing, how persons are trying to nice up, sugarcoat what is going on in the country by saying, oh, the GDP is growing and all of those things. The GDP per capita, and this is what I wanted, per citizen, Amanda, when it comes to the economic output of the country per citizen, it is saying to us that at the end of 2022, the end of this year, it is projected to be I think somewhere around $3.2 million per person, not per household, per person. You look at those persons living there and you tell me if they're feeling 3.2. You tell me if they look like they're feeling that $3.2 million when it comes to the GDP per capita per person. They are being counted. Those are the real lives of the people that are being affected. How are they feeling it? How is it that in a country, you know, you talk about this oil wealth and all of those things. How is it in a country that you're saying that you're having this growth? You're saying that you're having this development. How is it in that country? People are living like that. How is that acceptable? What do you have to say to those people? What do you go and tell them? Do you go knock on their door and say, oh, this economy is booming? Because I for certain would want to hear what they would say to you.
Like, where am I feeling it? And I noticed one of the comments said, I hope they have insurance. No, they don't.
Insure who?
Insure who? They don't.
From where?
You know, no, they don't. No, they don't. You see that they're living in a place no bigger than 15 by 15.
Who's paying for insurance? What? When you can barely afford to where you're getting your next meal from. This is the life that people are the majority of Guyanese.
Working class and poor Guyanese.
That's the data. That's the census data that we're going to be waiting on.
That is.
Guys, we have another piece of video there. We're going to bring it up, that footage there for you.
It's oh gosh.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
We have to get this right. We have to. And look, it's not enough that we keep addressing the problem after it happens.
Yeah.
What are we doing to prevent these things from happening is the question. And it calls for proper planning. This leading by theatrics and so on that the PPP is doing will not build this nation.
Never.
You got to roll up your sleeves and get down to the hard work. And that's what they're failing to do.
Understand. I don't know how many times I have to come and tell you it. But when it comes to who is suffering in the country, there is no one race that is suffering. When it comes to the poor and working class, it's everybody. Once you fall in the category, they don't care what you look like, you will be suffering together. And that is why those persons there, you look at them, you feel their struggle, they are pleading for help. They want persons to see the devastation that they're going through because they want it to change. And it's our job to represent each and every one of them out there. Guys, we have another bit of footage that we're going to be bringing to you right now. Continuing to monitor as if you're just joining. We're continuing to monitor what is going on there in Peters Hall. The devastating situation of flood waters just completely sweeping through persons' home. They're absolutely horrendous.
So remember to share the...
Yeah. Wow. Whoa. Water, and they're pumping out. They're pumping out. They're pumping out water here. Yeah. That's the pump right there? Yeah. Oh my Lord, everything on the water, Fanti. House front. Morning. Wow, and you're trying here? Yeah. Trying to pump out water here. The whole family. Big family affair. Trying to pump out water. Oh boy. Thanks a lot. That's coming, ma'am. Good, yeah. They got a shop out front here and water. Water This is millions in damage. Thanks very much, ma'am.
Wow. Got a baby. The baby can't go to school in these areas. Let me just paint the blatant picture before you. These places are not area with sewage. These persons have either latrines or septic tanks. That's the area that's full. That's the water that's actually
in people's houses.
Sweeping
so you notice that it's green, and God knows what is in it, and people have to wake up to this. Children can't go to school. They have to wake up to this reality. We are in a jam, and we can deny all we want, and we can say the AP and UFC this and who did that and who did that, and you open the papers and you see massive million oil and gas training facility. Yeah, hotels are coming here, and this is coming that. Understand that development is good, but development at the expense of your people can never be good. Joretta, in the budget, we made the point that we needed to do some restructuring in terms of the way we were going to be spending money. We begged them, we said, look, your implementation gap is 41%, your efficiency gap. Cut down on the number of projects that you are going to do this year. Put some more money in the people's pocket.
We spoke about capacity and lack thereof.
Lack of capacity to implement these projects. So don't force all in one year. Plan it in a realistic manner so that you do have your infrastructure being built, but at the same time, you have the standard of living of your people being maintained. What this government is doing, and they really don't care, they're doing it blatantly. Infrastructure is up here. The social welfare of the people down here. People don't have a livable wage. Instead of balancing and managing it in a manner where it goes like this, I'm the greatest economist,
what they're
but there's
doing,
some basic things.
And that is what it is. Because what they're doing, they want to project on paper, they want to fluff up and pad up when it comes to the GDP. They want to present numbers that is giving a false impression of the reality on the ground and how people are actually living.
And this is why I keep saying to every citizen that has a smartphone, get up there and record what is going on. Send it out there. Because they are masters of looking good on paper and projecting to the international community that all is well. You understand?
That's crazy.
But the people are struggling, and if we remain quiet, if you're going to say, y'all all right, y'all didn't say nothing. You couldn't possibly be struggling because you're so quiet. And we have to begin to adopt a different approach to holding this government accountable. Who is going to compensate those people for their losses in Peters Hall? Who is taking care of the people that suffered from that freak storm in Beirut? We're watching.
We're watching. I think we have guys, make sure that you share the stream, make sure that you share. And we're going to continue to bring you bits and pieces, more information as we continue throughout the other programs today. So make sure that you join the other programs. Make sure you join at 12 and then again this evening at 8 p.m. because we will be bringing more information and more footage from on the ground there in Peters Hall this morning. Thursday, the 8th of September, the way in which devastation that persons woke up to there, and we have to make sure that we bring you the information so that you will have a very clear picture of what is going on the ground. It is not all good in Guyana. Persons are suffering. The GDP is not being felt by the persons on the ground, and we will continue to represent them and their interests because that's why we're here. So share before you go. Make sure that you do your part. The man's the last word goes to you.
I'm seldom at a loss for words, but we keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. We cannot do the same thing over and over and expect different results. We have to be able to hold the people of Guyana, the government of Guyana accountable, and we, the people of Guyana, we have to do it. There is so much going on. There is a lot of money in the system because of what is happening in oil and gas, and we have to make sure that the government distributes that equitably. We have to make sure that our development is balanced so that the rising tide will float all boats. And right now, it seems as though holes are being deliberately put into some people's boats. The poor and the working class. And so we have to find a strategy to hold the government accountable. Guys, we'll be bringing you some more, but today is World Literacy Day. The world celebrates the importance of reading and understanding. Growing up, we had a saying, reading is fundamental, and it continues to be fundamental. So today at 11, there is a worldwide campaign where you drop everything and you read to, place emphasis on the importance of literacy and reading. Reading changed my life. Reading changed my life, opened horizons. And so we want to encourage you at 11 to grab a child, read, and to reiterate the importance of reading today, World Literacy Day. So we want to thank you for joining us, and we say go out there and in spite of it all, Have a great day.
Have a good day, guys.
My brother Charles. Yeah, brother.
I have opinion. My name is Dan Paul Jagmore. I live in Providence. I live right by the cocoa down there. Right at the second house. Every 5 to 7 years the cocoa is built. They say, sir, it's not nobody's fault, but lack of maintenance. If every 5 years people can come and change the cocoa dough, we never deem this disaster. But because people is not going out, hello people Halloween. It's PPP and PNC. It ain't got nothing to do with that. This is lack of maintenance. That's all I gotta say. And me yard, whole yard, you know what's damage I got there? A lot of damage. And we really need proper things. We need things to put in place. Right?
Hey,
this thing is nothing but president and them thing. This is a normal thing anybody can happen to.
Yeah.
You understand?
Agreed.
It's a normal
Agreed.
Yes,
Agreed.
it's a normal thing.
Agreed.
This thing ain't got nothing but who is the president and who is not the president. This is a normal thing. You understand? Because anybody this can happen to. Anybody this can happen to. Yeah. Have a nice night.